All right, I want you to lean in. Isn't this just the best? I love hanging out with you guys. Lean in, my friends. I am going to chat with you, and I know you're looking at the title going, Opia what? What are we talking about today? We are going to lean in, and I am going to talk about something that is going to blow your mind. Okay. Today, we are going to talk about opulence. Okay. There is actually, shockingly enough, how much I love universal law, there's a law of opulence. Okay. And it's a mental law of success. Okay. So through this law, you can attract in things, people, events, circumstances, health, a bank account, a relationship into your life. Freaking cool, right? Okay, so this law, it's actually known as the law of attraction, right? We know about this. Talked about this quite a few times, okay? And the technique that it uses, another tip that I love to give you guys all the time, is you have to do what's called creative visualization. Okay, let's go back a hot second. Okay, what is opulence? Actually, look at the meaning of the word. Opulence means plenty, wealth, riches, abundance. Okay, but I'm not just talking about money. It's where your mind went, right? Which is fine, can mean money, can mean a lot of other things. Okay, to be opulent means to be very wealthy. It means to have a lot of resources. It means to be prosperous, to have affluence, and assets. Okay? There can be opulence of love, of happiness, of peace. There's so many different states of opulence. Don't you just want to live an opulent life? I don't know how many times I can say that word during my time with you today. Okay? It is the nature of the world to be abundant and to have plenty of everything. That is why we are here. So if you're living in a state of lack right now, going, Lynn, I don't have a lot of money, a lot of happiness, an abundant of beautiful relationships. I don't have that. Guess what? That's not your truth, though. That's not your truth. That's not how you're supposed to live, which is why, as humans, we constantly just desire it. We constantly desire opulence and abundance because that is who we really are. That is why we are here. We are not meant to live in lack, limitation, and poverty. We're not meant to. So when we are, we feel this like energy. There is an abundance of all of those things all around you. Okay. The first thing you need to do is you need to think opulent thoughts. And your thinking is unlimited. Okay. There's a book, it's called The History of the Mind. And it was published like 100 years ago. Okay. It's by Richard Iglesias. And he says in it, if you have no possessions, then it is because you have not used the law of opulence for your own benefit. It is well known that it's a well-known fact that everyone has now just what he deserves. And this is as true can be. Everyone has what they deserve. Everyone has what their level of awareness brings to them. Okay? What you have right now, what you have in your bank account, what you have in your relationships, what kind of work you're doing, what you have health-wise, everything you have today is because you thought about it yesterday. Today's results are yesterday's thoughts. Today's thoughts are tomorrow's results. Does that make sense? And you're thinking, I don't know, Lynn. I don't think I attracted this in. I can promise you, you attracted it in. Even the good stuff, right? But in today's society, we kind of look at it as if you're winning, then you just got lucky, and if you're losing, it's because it's something you did wrong. There's lots of universal laws that show that everything, there's ebbs and flows. Everything flows. Okay? Just like the tide goes out and the tide goes in. Okay? The state you're in right now, it too shall pass. And it'll really start to pass when you start to think differently. Okay? So, how do you make the law of opulence really work for you? Okay? Because in this book, he also said that to put the law of opulence into operation, it is necessary to realize three things. First, that everything you want exists now in the divine mind. Everything you want is already here in one form or another. Okay? Next, know that all things that you can have are only temporary because you are constantly meant to grow out of things. You are not meant to keep things forever wrapped in a box. We were talking about that in study club the other day when someone mentioned how they don't want to lose who they are in their growth. And it's like, do you not want to lose who you are? Or do you need to lose who you are to become the next version of yourself? You need to lose who you are because you need to step into that next version. Okay? And the third thing is we need to realize that all things are distributed by the universal consciousness according to the law. And you will get what you need when you're ready for it. And here's what we do as humans. We go, I want everything and I want it all now. How do I get everything to Lynn that I want right now? How do I do this? You don't want, really? Like you want everything right now? It's like going into a restaurant and ordering all the food you're ever going to need. You wouldn't do that. It's like going into Costco and buying all the toilet paper you're ever going to need in your life. That actually happened at one time. Remember when that happened? That was funny. Right? You don't need everything right now. You need the next step. Take it, learn from it, grow from it, and then keep going. Be persistent. Okay, one person is not poverty stricken and another a millionaire by chance. Okay, everything is distributed according to the law of mental demand, of asking and receiving. Whatever you think about over and over and over, this is what you will attract into your life. That is a fact. The house I live in right now, I remember even just this neighborhood when Dave and I bought our very first house. We used to bring our dog to this neighborhood and walk around it like we owned a house in it. Right? We would and I would just drive through it. I used to get lost in the subdivision all the time, right? Right? but we thought about it all the time. And then we attracted in the circumstances that allowed us to be able to purchase a home in the subdivision. And then we lived in that house for a few years, and that house was like huge upgrade to what we lived in before, right? And then we attracted in this house. It's literally like down the road from where we lived before. And when I first saw this house, man, I was like, holy shnikes, this is my dream house. I can't even believe that this house is available. This is exactly what I want. I'm going to live here till I'm like so old. I'm so excited. I had my like grandma tour it before we even bought it, just to know that when I was 80 that I could walk around this house. Like that's how old I was going to be. Okay? So, like you guys, you just visualize it. But guess what? I'm already building another house. In my mind, I'm building it. And it's out there in one form or another. And I know it. I just know it to be true. And that's okay. You were always meant for more. You're supposed to want more. But you were told, probably as a child, when your paradigm was being formed, can't you just be happy with what you have? There's so many people that have so much less than you. Can't you just be happy? Well, I can be happy with what I have and I can want more. First of all, though, you need to know exactly what you want. You have to awaken this strong desire to get what you want and build a strong faith that you can get what you want. Visualize your goal by creating this mental image of it. And then create affirmations around it. Guys, you'll start to boom, 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 boom. You're like, that sounds really easy. I was actually just on the phone with somebody and we were talking about this. And she even said, she goes, everybody thinks it's really hard when it doesn't have to be really hard. I'm like, I know. It's the secret. It's a secret. That's not really a secret. Okay. But when you have patience and persistence and like truly just know that whatever you think about, that is a seed. And by law, any seed that is planted in fertile soil, which your subconscious mind is the most fertile soil there is, if it is nurtured, it has to come to fruition. It has to, by law. Can't even make it up. Okay, so I want you to really like hone in on this. The law of opulence, that law of attraction, creative visualization, these aren't just fancy terms. Okay, Ralph Waldo Trine, he actually said opulence is the law of the universe. An abundant supply for every need is nothing, if nothing is put in a way of its coming. Deepak Chopra says affluence, unaboundedness, and abundance are our natural states. We need only to restore the memory of what we already know. You know that this is your truth. It's why you're willing to lean in. It's why you're going, oh man, something about this. Something about this is like familiar, but I don't know anything about it. Okay, it is familiar to you intuitively. And there is a brilliant reading. I love Thomas Gerard. Again, been dead for 100 years. But he has a brilliant book of, oh my gosh, it's so thick, of things that he wrote. Okay. And he wrote one called The Spirit of Opulence. Okay. And I highly recommend that you lean in and read it. Okay. It actually starts off like this. It is quite a mistake to suppose that we must restrict and stint ourselves in order to develop greater power of usefulness. This is to form conception of the divine power as so limited that the best use we can make of it is by policy of self-starvation, whether material or mental. Of course, if we believe that some form of self-starvation is necessary to our producing good work, then so long as we entertain this belief, the fact actually is so for us. Whatsoever is not of faith, that is not in accordance with our honest belief, is sin, and by acting contrary to what we really believe, we bring in a suggestion of opposition to divine spirit, which must necessarily paralyze our efforts, surround us with a murky atmosphere of distrust and want of joy. I love that. That's just like the first part. You guys got to go read it. Okay. What does it mean to truly restrict yourself? Right? It means limitations on something. Right? Like we restrict, if I were to, wrap a tight, piece of cloth around my arm, I would restrict blood flow. And that reduces the flow, and that eventually will be not great for me. But we do this energetically too. And I always talk to my clients about it's like kinking a hose, right? We have this beautiful energy running to and through us. And when you kink a hose when water's running through it and it stops the water, we do that. We kink our hose with our thoughts and prevent ourselves from allowing the opulence to run into and through us. And when we do that long enough, like it says, we paralyze our efforts and surround ourselves in a murky atmosphere of distrust and want of joy. We want joy. We are meant to have joy in our lives, but we kink our own damn hoses so we can't get it. Okay, this divine power is within us and it's unlimited. Okay, if we believe that self-starvation is necessary, this is what will become our reality. If you believe in order for me to get rich, I have to not buy what I actually want to buy. I want this car, but I'm going to settle for this car. I want that house, but I'm going to settle for this house. I want this job, but I'm going to settle for this job because it pays a little bit more, or I get benefits or whatever. When you start settling, you're giving in. Instead of trusting, I'm going to buy what I want. I'm going to take the job that I want. That the universe gives you a little slow clap and then gives you more of what you want. But our society, we're so freaking used to settling. It's ridiculous. You get what you want. You will get what you want when you start actually doing what you want and stop settling. Okay? Our only true limitations are the ones we set upon our own minds and our limiting beliefs. If you are ready to get rid of these limiting beliefs, you need to reach out. Enough is enough. You are meant to live an opulent life. You are meant to be. And I can't wait to help you with it. Because guys, when you're tapped into it, it's incredible. Like incredible. Awesome, right? I feel like I could just talk about opulence all day long. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are incredible.